Hi, happy Thursday. Okay, so obviously I'm gone today. I'm not here. You have a sub. So let's talk about what your responsibilities are today. Number one, please be super nice to the sub. Use all of your pleases and thank yous. Help out wherever you can. Make sure you still put your materials away when you're done. Hang your headphones up on the hook. Push your bench in at the end of class, grab hand sanitizer, all the stuff you normally do. So you'll have a warm up, which is this in Canvas, and then your document, you cannot be in present mode. So if you're in present mode like this, you can't actually drag any of the things around. So you gotta stay in edit mode over here. Okay, so then let's start with slide 1. It says fill each measure with the appropriate number of beats. Don't forget to check the top number of your time signature. So our top number here says we have 4 beats in each measure. This box is my measure. So I've got some options over here, and I thought I'd be funny and make them actual beats. But here's the quarter note that is 1 beat. So I could put 4 of these in there. 1, 2, 3, 4 if I wanted to. And now my measure is complete. It has 4 beats in the measure. Or I could do a group of 3 beats, a dotted half note, and a group of 1 beat, and now I've got 4 beats in there. So you want to make each one of these different. Don't make 2 measures of 4/4 the same. It gets a little more confusing when we get into the dotted quarter note because we've got 1.5 beats. A great way to fill that out and make it an even 2 beats is to add an 1/8 note, which is a half a beat. So now we've got 2 beats because a half a beat and a half a beat, if you put these together, equal a whole beat there. So we've got 1.5 plus a half equals 2 beats. And now if I wanted to fill out the measure 4/4, I could add another 2 beats in there. So there's an option, 4/4/4. I can do the same thing in 3/4 here. Let's say I wanted to do 2 beats and then 2 half beats, 2 1/8 notes in here. So I've got a half note and 2 1/8 notes, and that equals 3 beats. So make sure each time you're filling in these boxes that you're choosing different combinations of notes. Don't do 4 quarter notes each time you go through and do 4/4. All right, when we get down here to the note tree, it says directions. The next slide contains 5 rectangular puzzle pieces that will create a rhythm tree. Use your written notes from yesterday. Move the 5 puzzle pieces around to recreate the rhythm tree correctly. You do not need to resize the puzzle pieces, only move them. So you're going to drag these around until you line them up in a way where they start to match your notes. Let's see, I could put that here. Well, that's starting to look nice. Yeah, so you've got some options. Oh wait, that's not the right piece that goes there even. Ah! Well, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, so I'll leave you to do that. Remember, you only have to move them. Do not bother resizing them like this. If you resize them, it's going to make it really hard. So just move them around until you have your note tree. I think that is all the directions that you need to know. We're going to end class today with 15 minutes of piano practice. Everybody has a playing test on Friday, and you should have sheet music to be practicing. If you're finished with your song and you'd like to try Piano Marvel, only when you're prepared for your playing test, you can try and sign into Piano Marvel if it is working for you. Fingers crossed. I think that's it. The sub has extra sheets of music if you need it, but they also have the Bart Simpson writing papers, so you can't have new music unless you copy that sentence down. Only use the restroom if it is an emergency. Don't take advantage of the sub just because they're a sub. Go if it's an emergency. I think that's it. Have a fun time today in class. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.
C major scale, and we're going to start in the right hand. The fingering goes 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we finish on 5 at the top. So when we come down, we do exactly that in reverse. So 5 at the top, and then we go 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. So it just keeps alternating groups of 3 and 4. And the nice thing about C major is that there are no sharps and no flats, so it's all on the white keys. So this is how it works. We've got 3, 4, 3, 4, 5 to finish. Then we come down with a group of 4, and then 3, and then 4, and then 3. And that's one way in which you can practice doing this, just to get the fingers over the right notes. 3, 4, 3, 4, 5 to finish, 4, 3, 4, 3. And then you can try playing the scale one note at a time. So here we go. We start on C with number 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 to finish, coming down with a group of 4. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And of course you can pause this film at any time and go over that as many times as you like to get it working well. In the left hand, we've got just the same kind of thing happening, but of course your hands are round the other way, aren't they? So we're going to start with number 5 in the left hand. So there's number 5, and then we've got a group of 4, a group of 3, a group of 4, a group of 3. Then when we come down, the same thing in reverse. A group of 3, a group of 4, a group of 3, a group of 4, and number 5 to finish. And one thing you'll notice is that the left hand fingering going up is the same as the right hand fingering coming down. And the left hand fingering coming down is the same as the right hand fingering going up. So let's see if we can put that together in the left hand. So we start with number 5. Then there's a group of 4. So 4, 3, 2, 1. We've had a group of 4. So now it's 3, 2, 1. Now it's 4, 3, 2, 1. Now it's 3, 2, 1. Turn round, a group of 3, followed by a thumb. 2, 3, 4. Thumb again. 1, 2, 3. Thumb again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives you the notes and the fingers for C major. And the main thing you have to be clear about is where the thumbs come. So it's really about deciding where the thumbs come in the right hand going up and where the thumbs come in the left hand going down. And then always thinking about 3s and 4s. So let's see if we can put that together. You only have to do hands separately for grade 1. So here's the right hand, and this time I'm going to play it without calling out the fingers. But if you've done enough practice on getting the fingers in the right place, you should be ready to play this with me. So here we go with C major in the right hand. Okay, off we go. And now C major in the left hand. Here we go. Okay, I hope that's going well for you, and repeat the film as many times as you need to until you're very confident about C major.
Hey, what's up guys? So today I want to go over some really basic ear training concepts. So for those of you that have done ear training before, I would move on to some of my other videos. I'll put some links in the description. But today's video is about the fundamentals of how to get started with ear training. So it's really ear training 101. Now I think people often make ear training out to be a lot more difficult and complicated than it needs to be. To me, it's a lot like learning a language. It's kind of like studying vocabulary. The very first time you ever hear a new word in a new language, that word can sound really complicated, complex, and you may not recognize the sound even if you heard someone else say that word. But as you practice saying that word out loud and you practice hearing that word, whether you're watching a movie in that language or whatnot, you start to recognize it more and more until it becomes second nature. So ear training is basically the exact same thing. So if I had to just sum up the process of training your ears, basically all it is you're just taking one sound and doing enough repetition and analyzing it in your ears enough that you just immediately recognize it once you hear it. But again, that takes some time and some repetition. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start showing you some really basic methods of training your ears. So what we're working on is relative pitch. So that being the case, I'm going to give you your first note, which for the purposes of this lesson is always going to be middle C right here. So then after I give you that first note, the screen is going to go dark and I'm going to give you a second note. And so what you have to do is figure out what that second note is. Now today we're going to keep it really, really simple. There are only two possible notes that the second note I play can be. So our first note again is a C. Now the second note is going to be either a E or a G. Okay? So we're keeping everything within the C major scale. Now, before I show you some tricks on how to start training yourself, I'm going to give you an exercise and see how you do. So, here's your C. Consider singing that C out loud. All right, here we go. Here's the second note. Here's the C again. Now here's your next note. So, were you able to figure out what that second note was? Let me know in the comments since you can't actually answer me right now in the middle of this video. But do not be discouraged if that was tricky for you. Honestly, when I very first started doing this stuff, I couldn't figure that out either. But now I'm going to show you a way that you can start to kind of visualize things and conceptualize things sonically in your brain. So remember how I said this is all going to be in the key of C? So one way that we can conceptualize this is actually to sing up the C major scale until we land on the second note. So I gave you the C, and then I gave you a G. So I'm going to start back on the C because I'm singing it out loud. C, D, E, it's not the E, E, F, G, oh, that sounds right, G. So the way I actually got to that note, the way I figured out what it was actually by singing up the C major scale. All right, guys, now for those of you who are actually struggling to sing the C major scale, or at the very least hear up the scale in your head, what I would recommend is going one step back before working on this exercise and actually just sitting down with the major scale and trying to sing each note out loud with it until you can really hear the differences in those notes. So I want you to try to match each note perfectly with your voice. C, okay, D, and you might waver, D, try to land on it, D, E, see if you can really get each note. We could also do the G or E an octave below the C. So this is also tricky, okay, because this feels a little different sonically, but our method is the same. Now, instead of singing up the C scale to find our notes, we can also sing down the C scale to find our notes, okay? But we're still just doing the E and G. Okay, here's our C. Now, what is this next note? Okay, so first question you should ask yourself is, was that note higher or lower than the C? So, to me it sounds higher. So what I'm going to first try to do is I'm going to just sing up the C scale and see if I can find it. C, D, E, oh, E. Cool, sounds like the right note. So that time it was an E above the C. Now another quick exercise you can do if you're still struggling with this is you can take the notes that you're quizzing yourself on and just work on singing from C to that note. So for instance, and again, forgive me for my singing voice here, but C, E, C, E, C, D, E, and then maybe C, G, C, G, C, D, E, F, G. So do that until you can actually really sing them together, until you can really resonate the note and make sure that you're singing the same note as the one you're hearing on the piano or whatever instrument you're quizzing yourself with. All right, guys, just to close this out, let's do one more exercise. There's your C. There's the C again. All right, so for this one, guys, same question. Is the note above or below? So that sounds like it's below to me. So I'm going to sing down until I get it to see if it's a G or an E. C, B, A, G, no. G, F, no. E, that sounds right, it's an E. So C, E, and of course I'm singing it up an octave just because I can't sing down that low. So again, guys, it's totally okay if some of you are struggling with this to start out. That's totally normal. It takes time. Remember, it's like memorizing a vocabulary word. You have to just repeat it a million times. Try to hear it. You'll start to hear it in context over time, and eventually you're just going to recognize it immediately. So be patient and just know that if you keep practicing this stuff, you are going to improve. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you find these exercises really helpful. The best way to practice them is with a friend. So if you've got a friend...